Chapter 1. The Revolution Hits Home. We're back with another history-altering chapter on the Shadow Carapace. I'm Slipturtle, your shadow-diving host, and this is What If? The Declassified Chronicles, Episode 5, Hoover's Fall and Civil Rights Rise. Let's recap the journey. Episode 1, November 22nd, 1963. JFK survives the Dallas assassination attempt, uncovers deep state involvement, and vows to dismantle it. Episode 2, 1964. He guts the CIA, splitting it into smaller agencies under tight control. Episode 3, 1965. He pulls out of Vietnam, dodging a decade-long war. Episode 4, 1966. He shakes hands with Cuba's Fidel Castro, thawing Cold War tensions. Now, in 1967, Kennedy's turning inward, targeting the FBI's J. Edgar Hoover and turbocharging civil rights. With the deep state on the ropes, no CIA meddling, no Vietnam quagmire, no Cuban standoff, Kennedy's got the momentum to tackle domestic battles. What happens when the FBI's iron grip loosens and equality surges? We're diving into this alternate 1967 to find out. Let's get started. Chapter 2. Kennedy versus Hoover. A long-brewing clash, Kennedy and J. Edgar Hoover were never friends. Tensions simmered from day one. Hoover, FBI director since 1924, had built a surveillance empire, amassing secret files on everyone, including Kennedy. Declassified FBI records show Hoover wiretapped Kennedy's private life, think his affairs, and used the dirt to keep him in check. Hoover also despised Kennedy's civil rights push, targeting leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. with illegal bugs and smear campaigns, as revealed in 1971 COINTELPRO leaks. By 1967, Kennedy's had enough. With the CIA already tamed, Vietnam avoided, and Cuba on friendly terms, he's riding high. Speculative polls might peg his approval at 70%. Up from 63% pre-Dallas, per Gallup. On January 15, 1967, Kennedy calls Hoover to the Oval Office and delivers the ultimatum: resign or I'll fire you. Hoover, 62 years old and clinging to power, refuses. Kennedy goes public, announcing on live TV, the FBI will no longer be a tool of oppression, it's time for new leadership. Hoover's out by February, replaced by a reformer. Let's say William Ruckelshaus, a young Justice Department official known for integrity in our timeline. Chapter 3. The FBI's new dawn. With Hoover gone, Kennedy moves fast to reshape the FBI. He issues Executive Order 11006 on March 10, 1967, banning domestic surveillance without court approval, a direct jab at Hoover's tactics. The FBI's focus shifts. No more wiretapping civil rights leaders, no more COINTELPRO-style operations against activists. Instead, Kennedy redirects the Bureau to tackle organized crime, think mafia busts, and protect voting rights in the South. Declassified files from our timeline show Hoover's FBI had bugged King's hotel rooms, sent him blackmail letters, even tried to drive him to suicide. Here, that stops cold. King, free from FBI harassment, organizes bigger marches. Let's speculate a massive voting rights rally in Selma draws 100,000 by summer 1967, double our timeline's numbers. Other activists, like Malcolm X, might face less pressure. Perhaps Malcolm survives past 1965, joining King in a united front. The deep state's old guard, still smarting from the CIA crackdown, grumbles, but Kennedy's public support keeps them at bay. Chapter 4. Civil rights surge ahead. No FBI surveillance, no Vietnam War draining funds. Civil rights rockets forward. Kennedy, emboldened by his earlier wins, pushes Congress hard. The 1964 Civil Rights Act, already passed in this timeline, gets a booster. A speculative 1967 Fair Housing Act bans discrimination in housing a year earlier than our timeline's 1968 law. Voting rights, secured early in 1965, see higher black turnout, let's say 60% in southern states by 1968, up from 40% in our timeline, per historical voter data. Protests face less sabotage. Without FBI interference, the Black Panther Party might focus more on community programs than armed standoffs. Culturally, the 1960s shift. No war protests means more airtime for civil rights anthems. Think Nina Simone's Mississippi Goddamn topping charts. Bob Dylan writing more equality ballads. Speculate further. King, unburdened, might broker a national reconciliation summit in 1968, uniting black and white leaders. Racial tensions cool faster, setting a new tone for the decade. Chapter 5. A nation transformed. Kennedy's FBI reform and civil rights push ripple deep. Let's explore. Economically, no Vietnam War means more cash for domestic programs. Kennedy's Poverty Initiative, started in 1964, expands, cutting urban poverty by 15% by 1968, a speculative leap from our timeline's slower gains. Socially, a less divided America emerges. No war to split generations, no FBI stoking racial strife. College campuses host integration workshops, not anti-draft rallies. Think Berkeley as a civil rights hub, not a protest battleground. Globally, the U.S. image shines. Kennedy's peace moves in Vietnam and Cuba, paired with equality at home, make America a beacon of progress, not division. But the deep state's hawks, from Episode 2's Old Guard, aren't done. Rumors of a 1968 scandal to smear Kennedy swirl, setting up future drama. This leads to Episode 6, how these domestic wins rebalance the Cold War on a global stage. Chapter 6, the fuse keeps burning. Kennedy's ousting of Hoover and civil rights surge aren't just wins. They're a revolution, a deep state humbled, a nation healing faster. This is Episode 5 of the Shadow Carapace's wild saga, and I couldn't do it without my MVPs. Big love to Syllabi. They're the AI masterminds who take my raw, chaotic ideas and craft scripts that hit like a freight train. Without them, I'd be lost in the shadows, scribbling nonsense. They're the heartbeat of this series, so check them out in the description below. And Suno, those sonic wizards whip up the tense synthwave vibes you're hearing, pulling you straight into 1967's fight for justice. They're why my soundtracks slap. Give them love in the description too. Smash that like, subscribe, ring the bell. New episodes drop every Tuesday. Next week, April 29th, 2025, Episode 6, Cold War Rebalanced. Kennedy's domestic wins reshape global tensions. Comment: would a reformed FBI have changed civil rights history? Share this. Let's make it explode.